is truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice, and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
Hello, hello, hello. Jordan live from the mothership. Status quo in the house. September 20th, 2019. I was born on this day 33 years ago. 33 years ago. And you know what, Jen, do me a favor. If you're in the live chat, text message my mom. Text message my mother and tell her I told you to send her a message that I'm live now, because I know she wanted to come in the live chat, but I didn't have time to tell her I was going live. So do that for me, so Mama Chariton can be here. What a day. What a day. You know, some people take off for their birthday, or, you know, do a massage, which I did, or, you know, just reflect. But I've been busy all day. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go live earlier because the signal on my phone didn't work, because there was thousands of people. Thousands of people were on strike today here in New York City, and by my count, a few hours ago, the reports were over 3 million people striking globally for the climate strike today. So I was out there a little earlier, and honestly, it was so fitting because it's almost October. So in New York City, usually, you know, kind of not cold, but a little crisp on September 20th, typically. By the way, this is the last day of summer. I'm a Virgo, my birthday. But it was like 90 degrees on me at this thing. I was so effing hot. This is what climate change is. It is abnormally hot in New York City today. I was schwitzing at this climate strike. But great speakers. I did not join the march. I'm learning how to, understand my body. I just had surgery in May, and I keep aggravating my back and re-aggravating my back because I do too much too soon. So I skipped the march part, but I did cover the speeches. But great speeches. Of course, I was doing the camera work, so sorry if some of the camera work is a little shoddy. I'm not a camera person. I probably will have news on that front as far as us hiring a new camera person, probably within the next few days. So stay tuned for that. We do have somebody that we would like to offer the position for. We're just, crossing the T's and all that stuff. So we got 130 people watching right now. 130 people watching right now. We got to get this up significantly. YouTube has been suppressing the hell out of this channel. So what you could do right now for my birthday, just smash that like button into smithereens. It's the like button right under the video. Thumbs up. The more people that press that like button, the more people that could join me for my birthday. And I don't even care if you're a troll. You could shoot venom at me if you'd like. Just press that thumbs up button. Press the thumbs up button. Press the thumbs up button. If you're watching on your phone, press cancel out of the thumbs up. Cancel out for a second of the live chat. Press that thumbs up button and then go back in. Thank you. Also, we're going to talk more about membership in a bit. We're at 714 Status Quo members. What an amazing gift it would be if on my birthday, Is it possible to sign up like 20 more people today? I think that's a relatively decent goal. So if you've been on the fence, we're going to talk about why you should get off the fence a little bit later. Follow us at Status Coup. We are, I think, almost at 10,000 on the Twitter, which is awesome. We've only started really pushing our Twitter channel over the last 2-3 months. So follow us at Status Coup, subscribe to our podcast, and join our email list by going to statuscoup.com. Enter your email if you so choose. So, folks, I'm not going to lie to you. I'd rather somebody just be open that they're being shameless. Don't hide your shamelessness. So I'm using my birthday. I'm straight up using the day of my birth, to try and raise money for Status Coup. Disclaimer, I have no shame when it comes to raising money for Status Coup, because I'd rather beg the audience than ever get in a room with these vulture, plutocrat, United Corporations of America people. We're not doing that. So, the update. I wish I had a sound effect to be dramatic. We are currently at $72,618 raised. $72,618 raised. Had a couple donations come in over the last couple hours. Let me thank Anonymous, $20. Christopher, $5. Barbara, $25. Kelly, $20. Anonymous, $25. Sheila, $10. Mary, $25. Obi, $30. Anonymous, $33. Alexander, $25. Mitch, $75. Melita, $10. Steve, $20. Anonymous, $10. Carla, $15. And on we go. Thank you. I might be delusional. But I say, today and through Sunday, because I'm going live on Sunday, of course, for our marathon live stream on Sunday, I am dreaming of reaching $75,000 through today and the end of Sunday. It might be a complete fantasy, but if you're not going to fantasy, why bother living, right? So first, obviously, if we're going to reach 75,000 by Monday, we got to get to 73,000 first. So literally, if you have a couple bucks, want to give me an extra special birthday gift, we really appreciate it. Jen's dropping it in the GoFundMe. Obviously, if you don't have any money, if you're on a budget, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, we get it. We appreciate you just watching, sharing, and all that good stuff. If you ask me, Jordan, which would you prefer on your birthday? Would you prefer us to donate to your GoFundMe, or would you prefer us to become a member? I prefer both. But if you're not a member, that's our preference. Sign up as a member today. Statuscoup.com/join. Statuscoup.com/join. That is how we grow for the long term. But we'll take whatever. We prefer GoFundMe over Super Chat. We're really trying to get to the $85,000. We're less than $13,000 away. And I will be shameless throughout the broadcast to try and raise more money. So if you don't like that, sorry. What can I do? So, now that that's all out of the way, and thank you for the birthday wishes. Thank you, Carla, getting us started in the Super Chat, $10. Thank you, Chris, $5 in the Super Chat. Happy birthday, Jordan. Let's keep it going, folks. Thank you so much, folks. And I'm going to play some of those climate speeches throughout the show. So I want to start. Honestly, I'm not exaggerating. I thought when Jen sent this to me that this was The Onion. I thought that when Jen sent this to me, this was truly The Onion. I hope if you faint of heart, if you are, if you're not on a full stomach, if you just can't handle certain ridiculousness, I implore you to sit down. Make sure you're sitting. Or not running while this is broadcasting. The Washington Post, obviously the preeminent Bernie Sanders hater, they'll prop up a snail if it means hurting Bernie Sanders, has offered Elizabeth Warren quite lovely coverage, just like the New York Times has, just like CNN, MSNBC, whose I said might as well become a super PAC. So it's amazing to me. We expect this from the Washington Post, but this story that I saw today, I thought this was The Onion. I had to look twice. So Elizabeth Warren, let's listen. We got to deal in reality. She is growing. She is a competitor to Bernie Sanders. Right now, I'd say, to me, Bernie's stronger competition is Joe Biden, because I think if Biden doesn't collapse before the election, he is up in all the polls. I mean, that's just the facts. So I think Bernie will have a better chance pulling away voters from Biden than he will Warren, because the media keeps saying Bernie and Warren have similar voters. No, they don't. Bernie's, as I've always said, mostly making under $50,000, mostly those with only high school degrees. Has a more diverse coalition, African Americans, Latinos. So, but Elizabeth Warren is doing well in a lot of polls. She's in second now, and that's just reality. Some of the polls are are undersampling people that are younger. Some of the polls, the sample size overall is bad, but there's been enough polls that we need to deal in reality. She is going to be a tough competitor, but part of why she's going to be a tough competitor is the media has showered her with just adoring coverage. I mean, Jesus, it's almost like she's the only person ever who's written out a plan for something. And apparently, the media treats her doing selfies at her events with supporters as reinventing the wheel of political campaigning. But apparently for the Washington Post, Elizabeth Warren taking selfies is now comparable to abolitionist hero Frederick Douglass. I'm just going to be quiet for a second and let that sink in. Frederick Douglass, photos smashed stereotypes. Could Elizabeth Warren's selfies do the same? Yep. That's I want to make sure you see, this is the Washington Post, not the Onion, comparing Elizabeth Warren taking photos off of your phone to abolitionist hero Frederick Douglass. Just to make sure, I just want to make sure, would you like me to read any more, folks, or are you already vomiting? Yes. So, and by the way, this makes like the adoring coverage Barack Obama got in 2007 and 2008 look like child's play. I mean, you want to talk about free airtime they gave Donald Trump in 2016 and 2016. This is embarrassing. So I'm only going to read a little because I can't stomach much more. But, if you need a history lesson, Frederick Douglass, one of the leaders of the abolitionist movement, hero, the Civil War and beyond, fought for women's rights too, took photos that are in museums probably all over this country. Thank you, Mike, $5 in the super chat. So the Washington Post has surmised Frederick Douglass, a black man campaigning for the abolition of slavery in the 1840s, appears alone in almost every photograph, staring down the camera in isolated, thoughtful splendor. Elizabeth Warren, a white woman campaigning for the presidency in 2019, features today in countless iPhone photos and Instagram feeds, her arm around voter after voter, always bearing the same wide grin. The two are separated by race, gender, and more than 100 years of history that forged an America that would probably be unrecognizable to Douglass. Still, experts say their use of photography collapses the distance. Douglass sat for scores of pictures to normalize the idea of black excellence and equality. And Warren's thousands of selfies with supporters could do the same for a female president. I'm not going to read anymore because it's my birthday and I don't want to vomit. And I'm not even attacking Elizabeth Warren. I mean, I assume she's not writing the pieces for the Washington Post. So let's put her aside for a second, even though I think she's really a phony baloney on a lot of things. But let's put that aside for a second. And remember, folks, it is my birthday. If you want to help me blow out the candles, GoFundMe. Whoa! Wonderful. Let's see. Let's give some shout outs. Andrea, $50 in the GoFundMe. Thank you so much. Marcel, $10 in the GoFundMe. Thank you so much. Lawrence, $10 in the GoFundMe. Thank you so much. Corey, $33 in the GoFundMe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are now, if math can do me right, 200 $281 away from hitting that 73,000 mark. Let's keep it going if you can, folks. I really, really appreciate it. Making my birthday so sweet. So, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on the Civil War, the abolition of slavery, but I do know that Frederick Douglass was a slave. I do know that Frederick Douglass had masters. And I do know that Frederick Douglass helped lead the abolitionist movement. So Elizabeth Warren, talks kind of like came from a, I don't know what you would call it, lower working class family in Oklahoma. I believe she was not a slave. Correct me if I was wrong. They had some economic challenges, but they were free to go to and from the bathroom when they wanted, or the movies when they wanted, or had freedom of movement and choice of how they would like to live their life. I believe that was the case for Elizabeth Warren in her upbringing in Oklahoma. I wasn't there, but I'm just guessing. Elizabeth Warren, intelligent woman, not going to take that away from her. But frankly, which I'm keeping it real, folks, we're all being naive, and her supporters are being naive. I mean, this Native American thing, whether right or wrong, is going to come back in the general election. Hillary Clinton, in large part, lost because nobody trusted her. And Elizabeth Warren, I don't believe Frederick Douglass, put down he was a white guy to, get a job at Harvard. You know what I'm saying? So, this comparison, Elizabeth Warren, dare I say, there was a bit of a cultural appropriation to advance herself. I'm not saying she wasn't intelligent. I'm certainly not saying she didn't, on the merits, wasn't smart enough or had the grades or whatever to get into prestigious schools or become a professor at Harvard. But I'm pretty sure Elizabeth Warren's upbringing was not as challenging as Frederick Douglass. I'm also pretty sure that call me, just confused. I'm pretty sure that Elizabeth Warren, and remember, folks, we got 235 people watching. 133 of you have pressed the like button. It's the thumbs up button right under this video. Press the like button. The more people that press the like button, which is the thumbs up button, the more people that will see this live stream. YouTube is suppressing the hell out of this channel. I don't even want to get into it because it's my birthday and I'm in a happy mood, but we're really up against it lately with YouTube. And it's getting worse for a lot of other independent media. I believe David from the Rational National just had his verification taken away. I didn't even know you can be verified on YouTube. I don't see that ever happening for us. But YouTube is really screwing around, so we need all of you to press that like button. Please, just press that like button. So, I mean, this... let me see who wrote this for the Washington Post. Okay, Hannah Natanson. I'm not trying to dox her or whatever. Hannah Natanson. So, let me explain to Hannah and the Washington Post. The selfie was not invented by Elizabeth Warren. Okay? I don't know who invented the selfie, but I'm pretty sure it was not Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren's use of the selfie after her campaign events, it's good political strategy. It helps, solidify that connection with those voters. It's not exactly a revolutionary technique. I do know other politicians that have taken selfies with supporters and voters. Elizabeth Warren, frankly, she hasn't had that challenging of a life. I'm not trying to be difficult. I know that, I think her father or her mother lost their job and, they were on the verge of bankruptcy, things like that. A lot of other people have the same story. So, I'm not diminishing that, her family had some economic struggles, but I wouldn't even have that in the same sentence as Frederick Douglass. I mean, what is next? Are we going to start comparing her having selfies with voters to Rosa Parks? Harriet Tubman? Malcolm X? MLK? I mean, Che Guevara? Oh no, they hate him. Thank you, Christine. I sent $22 to the GoFundMe. Happy birthday, Jordan. And 20 Nook. Thank you, Christine. We really appreciate the double whammy there. Oh, let me show everybody Christine's donation. $72,746. So we're now just $254 away from raising $73,000. Let's do it, folks, today. Let's go. As I show you my blowing out the candles. Thank you, Colin Tooley. And as a reminder, folks, I could go in a little bit more depth about the next stories we want to do. Here's where we've already been with the money you have been donating. Do you see all those microphones? We've been to Chicago in the last year, Flint, Detroit, New York City, Cleveland, DC, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, Miami, Dallas, LA, Las Vegas, Reno, San Francisco, Seattle, Vancouver, Canada. All of that with a very, very shoestring budget, thanks to you. And I'd like to fill in some more of this map. So keep it coming. We are not like other outlets, asking you for money and then not really doing what we say with it, if you know what I'm saying. So keep it coming. GoFundMe, GoFundMe, GoFundMe. And if you want, become a member, statuscoup.com/join. So honestly, folks, I got to tell you the truth. The corporate media has chosen their alternative to Joe Biden. And I think they're hedging their bets. Joe Biden, let's face it, I've been saying it for weeks, he's not looking wonderful, folks. He's not looking wonderful. As the campaign season continues, I think something's wrong cognitively. I've been saying it for weeks. I think, I'm not diagnosing him, I'm not a doctor, but the more people see somebody who's struggling cognitively, those poll numbers are going to start to slide, folks. You watch. Thank you very much. MT Unit, $5 in the super chat. Wait, where am I? At my birthday bash. But the corporate media needed a fallback. And obviously, they tried to push Kamala Harris, but she's just kind of like a human robot. Her arms flail. She kind of says things in a programmatic way, whatever the donors told her to say, whatever the consultants told her to say. There's no authenticity. There's no there. And she's gone. She's not going to win. We know that. Pete Buttigieg, is kind of her robot twin, right? And Pete Buttigieg is like Medicare for anyone who wants it. Get the fuck out of here. Damn it. Demonetized on my birthday. Swear jar. So Kamala's gone. Pete's gone. Our friend Bill de Blasio dropped out today. So who really is left? I'm sorry if you're part of the Yang gang. I don't see Andrew Yang becoming the nominee. And I don't think he should become the nominee. But in fairness, I am interviewing next week a UBI supporter, because I had Steve Grumbine on to crap all over UBI. So now I want to give a UBI supporter a chance. So I want to be fair. So what's amazing to me, they've chosen Elizabeth Warren, because obviously the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, the Associated Press, all of them, they would rather put, I don't know, think of the worst person, John Bolton, in the White House, than let Bernie Sanders breathe near the White House. That is how fiercely the United Corporations of America will protect their wealth. That is why. And this is why, frankly, I don't want to be unfair to Elizabeth Warren, because she is, frankly, running a good campaign. I think a lot of her campaign is based on bullshit. I think, frankly, if you kind of peel back the eye of a plan, it's somebody who has hemmed and hawed on Medicare for all. It's somebody that doesn't want to say that, taxes are going to have to go up a little bit, which Bernie Sanders does say. She won't acknowledge that. She won't acknowledge it during the debate. She wouldn't say taxes will go up a little bit to fund it, but your costs overall will go down. She wouldn't say it when Stephen Colbert challenged her. She won't say it in interviews with CNN, because she's not going to fight for it. And she is basically trying to be everything to everyone. Where Bernie's just straight up, like in other countries, your taxes will be a little bit more, but the cost savings from not having to pay all this for healthcare, you're overall going to be, it's basically a tax cut, because deductibles, co-pays, co-insurance, hidden bills, it's all the same. Those are taxes on you. So overall, the cost savings are going to be way more than the tax increase. Elizabeth Warren won't even say that because she's not being genuine. Thank you, Killarita. Happy birthday, $10. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to those. We just got another GoFundMe as well. Thank you, Joyce, $20 on my birthday. So we are now, if I could do the math correctly, just $234 away from hitting that $73,000. Keep it coming. We gotta hit that $73,000 during this live stream, or I'll cry and I'll weep. And nobody wants to come out with me for my birthday tonight if I'm crying. 73,000, can we do it? I believe so. So, frankly, I'm just keeping it real, folks. Part of the GoFundMe, I've been embarrassed seeing people interview Elizabeth Warren. It's embarrassing seeing people interview Elizabeth Warren and her supporters. I ain't gonna name names, but even seeing some people in the independent media space interview her. I mean, why don't you just offer her tea and cake? Elizabeth Warren needs to be challenged. Do I think she's as bad as Hillary Clinton? No, I do not. Some of you don't agree with me. That's fine. I don't think she's as bad as Hillary Clinton. I don't think she's as bad as Joe Biden. I certainly don't think she's as bad as Donald Trump. And that's what I believe. If you don't agree, that's fine. But I think she should be challenged, because I think when politicians are challenged, guess what? If there's something if there's a void, if underneath all the surface wonderfulness, there's like a gap, good journalists expose that. So that's part of why we need more members, and that's part of why we need to get that GoFundMe up, because we're going to, pretty close, I don't want to announce anything until it's final, pretty close on hiring a new camera person, and we're going to hit the ground going. I personally think we might go to the Midwest next week to cover the General Motors strikes, do some other stories too, but definitely cover these General Motors strikes, which I have an update on today. So, Jordan, stop trashing TYT in coded language. It's okay to say you're free now. Chris, it's a good point. It is my birthday, so we have to reflect on where we've been and where we're going. I'm not saying coded language. I wasn't only talking about TYT. I've seen some other folks interview Elizabeth Warren that, frankly, yeah, they might have asked a tough question, but then they let her dodge and didn't follow up. But yeah, no, TYT also, I thought their interviews, Jenk's interview with her was embarrassing. And I also thought my former colleagues, Emma, she asked a good question. I don't know if she had the opportunity to follow up, but Elizabeth Warren clearly dodged, and, she was let off the hook. So that's what I believe. So here's the thing. I'm just going to keep it real, folks. This is beyond manufacturing consent. This is the corporate media literally as a side PR team for Elizabeth Warren. And she's loving it. Yeah, maybe some arrows will get thrown her way in the next debate. But frankly, it's up to journalists at this point, because I don't think Bernie's going to go after her. Not right now. So it's up for journalists to clearly show those differences. If not, I fear a lot of the propaganda surrounding her, that she has a plan for everything, when a lot of her plans, frankly, are borrowed from Bernie and others. This notion that she's an anti-corruption crusader, when she's like, once the calendar turns August, if I'm the nominee, give me the money, baby. Give me that fossil fuel money. Give me that big bank money. Give me that real estate money. Give me that pharmaceutical money. Give me that money. No. It's about integrity. You're either against the bribery and the toxic effect of money in politics, or you're not. So we're going to stay on it. Hopefully we'll have the money to go cover her out in the field. I'd really love to hit the road soon, so keep it coming in the GoFundMe. Before I get to my next topic, I do want to show you a clip from the climate strike march that I went to today. There was a lot of great speakers. We're putting together a mashup of all of the ones I shot. I apologize if the camera work was a little shoddy. I did my best, but at least I was there. I'm not a camera person. So I want to show you what I thought was a really, really amazing and heart-wrenching speech by a Puerto Rican woman who basically lost her house during Hurricane Maria. I believe she was 13 years old. 13 years old. and she spoke so eloquently. So I want to show you that. For those of you that already saw it, because I did post it, sorry, but I want to show you this. This is the kind of journalism that needs to be done out in the field all over America. Here we go. And remember, we got 321 people watching. Only 197 of you have pressed that like button. Smash the thumbs up button. Smash the thumbs up button. Help me enjoy my birthday. The more people that press the thumbs up button, the more people that will see the live stream. Let's take a look at her.
I turned around to watch a huge amount of water fall onto my bed, along with the ceiling. So, in that very bed that I had just laid in seconds ago, the ceiling was already on. So, to me that was traumatizing because I watched my bed get crushed. I watched where I had laid my entire life destroyed in seconds. Now, if we come to today now, rewind 2 years ago today. That's 2 years ago today. Hurricane Maria had slammed Puerto Rico, the land of my heritage, and that is where my grandmother and my aunt still live. So the land of my heritage was hit really hard by Hurricane Maria, and many of my family members were displaced. And among the 4,645 souls were lost, that was people's mothers and their sisters and brothers and their fathers and their uncles and aunts, was a very close family friend. And you never think that you will be the person that would be hit by all these types of disasters, right? I mean, you would think that it's the type of stuff that you're gonna go and you're gonna watch on TV. But it's traumatizing when it does happen to you. Because you think you want it to be a dream, you want it to be a nightmare, in fact, that you hope that you can just wake up from and you won't have to deal with that. But I mean, the ugly reality is that the crisis will affect everyone, and those least responsible are being hit the hardest. So our fellow people in the Bahamas are really feeling the cost from Hurricane Dorian. Like, this is a crisis, this is here and this is now. It destroyed my home, it displaced me and my mom, it took the life of a family friend, and it devastated the land of my family, the land of my heritage. So, this is why me and my mom have been fighting back against the fossil fuel industry and the proposed Williams pipeline. And this is why me and my mom have been fighting for the government to cancel the debt of Puerto Rico. Why? Because we are witnessing the destruction of our planet, but we are not sitting by it. Governments are not taking bold action, but we are. And we must acknowledge the crisis, but we can't accept it. These fossil fuel corporations only care about their profit, but we fight for our future. And when we all get together or band together, we are unstoppable. That is why even as a young person in the age of the crisis, I find hope and I feel powerful. Like,
You see how badly we need a camera person? Sorry about that. I'm not good with the camera, but we're gonna have a camera person soon. Thank God. So this was a 13-year-old who was a survivor of Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico. Which, by the way, I mean, I don't have any intel, but reports say there was a lot more than 3,000 people that died related to that hurricane in Puerto Rico, and the Bahamas just got destroyed. Parts of the Bahamas are like gone because of the latest hurricane, Hurricane Dorian. So this is happening, and who's it affecting the most? Indigenous people, black and brown people. But it's coming for the white people too, because the planet doesn't see color. And climate change and climate crisis, which I've been telling my mother, if you're watching, you need to pay attention to. God bless you. Love you, Mom. It's a crisis. It's urgent. And it was amazing. I'm going to have more clips to air. It was amazing because all you saw in New York City, and I believe I saw estimates that there were like 250,000 people striking in New York City. All I saw predominantly was like high schoolers and young people. It's amazing because traditionally the youngest of the young are not into politics, but they're getting it. They're getting that this is their futures on the line. So it's amazing to see them out there because those people are the next progressive voters when they're able to register and vote. And that's what we need. We need the youth to join the political movement that has been on an upswing since Bernie's first presidential run. Those are the people that are going to get rid of the Mitch McConnells. Those are the people that are going to elect Bernie types locally, on a state level, and hopefully on a presidential level. So it was really amazing to see. And I couldn't believe, honestly, how hot it was. I mean, it's September 20th. Usually it's not cold, but it's definitely not hot. You know, almost at October in New York City. The sun was beaming on me. It felt, I mean, I was wearing a black shirt, but it did feel close to like 90 degrees. It was hot. It's usually not that hot in New York City in late September. So, I'll have more of that in a little bit. Thank you. We're at 305 viewers. Keep it going. We are at, let's see. Oh, 72,000. So we're $204 away. $204 from 73,000. Thank you, Shun. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Joyce. So, next story. General Motors, which I went to cover a couple months ago. We were there when 15,000 people were laid off. There was no national media on the ground. Status quo was on the ground. So we went to cover it. We spoke with auto workers, GM workers, all this, because General Motors, like the rest of the vulture capitalists in America who bought off the politicians, can care less if their workers are literally a dead carcass, as long as their limbs can still move and make the parts. They don't care. Their workers are on a balance sheet. So now General Motors is saying enough. The workers are saying enough. So we're now a week into this strike. I spoke with a source of mine on the ground, a UAW and General Motors worker who's there. And by the way, we might go there next week if we could get everything set up with this new camera person and, you know, make a few more bucks in the GoFundMe, hopefully. We might go cover the strike next week. Before I went live, it was announced Bernie Sanders will be striking with them on Wednesday. We'll be striking with General Motors workers in Detroit on Wednesday. So Bernie Sanders will be there. I think I saw Elizabeth Warren is also going possibly this weekend. So Bernie and Elizabeth Warren are going to stand with the workers. So I spoke with a source of mine earlier, and he told me, and I'm not there, so I can't confirm this, but I have no reason, I mean, he's there striking. He tells me that literally police are bringing semi-trucks, they're driving semi-trucks into General Motors plants right now as the striking workers are outside with car parts and with parts to bringing it in and then delivering it to the managers who are standing in for the striking workers. And as the source told me, managers are standing in for the workers on the assembly line, and also there are scabs who chose, blue collars workers who chose not to strike. So literally the police, and I don't know which police, I don't know if it's Flint's police, I don't know if it's Detroit's police, who knows? But literally police are, like they worked for the oil company at Standing Rock, literally beating the living shit, and my mother's going to yell at me for cursing, beating the living shit out of Native Americans, environmental activists, young, old, they didn't care, grenades, tear gas, freezing water, pepper spray, you name it, they did it at Standing Rock, all in service of an oil company. Well, now, the police, who, by the way, the old school mafia, the police get kickbacks too from these corporations. The police, during the first auto strike in over a decade, are bringing in the parts that normally would be brought in by these striking workers to deliver to the scabs who chose not to strike and the managers standing in for the strikers. What else do you need? My mom's saying, Jordan, please. Oh, mother. Sorry, Mom. I gotta be who I am. You gave birth to me, but you have to let me flourish and be who I am. Maybe I'll have you on one day. So, I have a lot of new subscribers, so you guys might have never seen this interview. But, let me give you another update first. So, The United Auto Workers Union strike against GM showed no signs of a quick conclusion as its impact on other plants and workers continue to spread. GM has about 10,000 U.S. suppliers, and many have had to halt production on parts they would normally deliver to the nation's largest automaker. As the strike entered its fifth day, many are laying off workers who build those parts and other suppliers for GM. So this is why the police are literally delivering these parts to General Motors. I mean, you can't be more corrupt than that. The police are supposed to protect people, keep the public safety, not make sure corporate profits remain intact. This is some dystopian 1984 stuff we're talking about. That's why I want to get it on the ground, because I would like to show those semi-trucks going in, the police supplying General Motors with their parts. Because basically what the police are doing is trying to, kind of diminish General Motors' pain so they don't have to lose as much money, so they don't have to lose as much efficiency and productivity that they're losing without these workers. That is not the police's business to be doing that. It is certainly not the police's business to be defending oil companies in North Dakota either. But this is the United Corporations of America. Alternatively, I also call it the United States of Oil. So whether it's the police, whether it's the bankers, whether it's Big Pharma, they're all in it together. They're there to protect corporate power. So I want to play this interview. I'm not going to play all of it, but for those of you who didn't see it, this is one of the striking workers. I interviewed him months ago. And this will give you a little taste of why they're striking now and what they've been dealing with, fighting General Motors, who has taken their benefits, cut their health care, cut their pension, cut their wages, basically said, here's what we'll give you, take it or drop dead. That's what corporate America and General Motors are telling these workers, which are mostly, middle income, a lot of white people, but also a lot of black people work in these plants. Give me a second because I didn't have a chance to load this. This is Sean, a UAW worker and also a General Motors worker who works at the GM in Flint. Take a look. Hey, it's Jordan. The meeting here at local UAW just wrapped. They were talking about a lot of union history, but also the layoffs that are hitting General Motors, not just here in Michigan, Ohio, Maryland, Ontario, Canada. I'm here with Sean, and you actually were in Flint working there, then you moved to Detroit to work here?
No, I actually grew up in Flint, lived in Flint most of my life, but I worked at Lake Orion Assembly, which is around Pontiac, about a half hour south of Flair, 40 minutes south of Flint. Then during the Flint water crisis, I decided I didn't want to deal with the poisonous water and took a chance, got out of town, came down here. Been at DHAM, Detroit Hamtramck Assembly, for about 3 years, and now they're closing my plant, and I had to transfer back to Flint to keep my job.
And not all of the workers are getting transfer offers. It's only kind of like the top tier, because there's different tiers of workers.
Yes, absolutely. There's Tier 1, which is what you think of as traditional workers with all the benefits and wages that come with it. Tier 2, which is slightly lower. Then you have temporary part-time workers, third-party workers that are under totally different contracts. And so there's a lot of division, unfortunately, right now within the General Motors workforce.
And General Motors has been leveraging a lot more part-time and temporary workers over the years while making such heavy profit.
Yeah, absolutely, they have. That's it's really part of a divide and conquer strategy, not only to make them more money for themselves and their stockholders, but to break the union.
You know what's interesting? So it's like they're trying to make it. Well, a lot of these workers are being transferred, but they only give you like a week to decide if you're willing to take the transfer. And you were fortunate that it's still a lot, but move an hour away. But a lot of workers are being offered like Texas from here. So you basically have 7 days to decide if you want to uproot your whole family.
Well, I mean, people are functioning under various timelines. It's not necessarily specifically 7 days. It can just vary from person to person and when each individual plan is taking people. So it varies a lot. But you're absolutely correct that not everyone is getting that offers. Not only in the case of third tier and temporary workers for General Motors, but all the part suppliers that are going to be going out of business as a result of these closures. None of them can transfer. In addition to the service sector restaurant workers that serve the plants and the workers that go there every day, those folks are not going to be able to get transfers either and are going to be SOL.
And what's really telling to me is you hear, kind of the press release. Well, General Motors, we need to be more agile, and we want to really become more agile as the economy's quote booming. I don't know what economy they're talking about. It's certainly not booming for the majority of people. But they're talking about, well, we want to move to electric and automated cars. But they could very well have the workers they're laying off right now be the ones making those cars. Mm-hmm. It's really not a matter of not having the skilled workforce. It's a matter of, A, not wanting to retrain people for those specific cars, but also they just want to make it out of the country so that they could sell more cars in China.
Well, the workforce is already trained. For example, my plant specifically, we run 4 models down the same assembly line. It's one of the most flexible and agile plants in the company. So it's not a matter of retraining the workers. We have the knowledge and skills right here in Michigan, right here in Detroit. I have awesome coworkers who, have always impressed me. That said, this is more of a contract game than anything. GM has been making more money than they ever have in their history since the bailout during the bankruptcy. And so now, as a result, they're pretty much leveraging that profit that they've made to cut ties and run. They basically used their American workforce and the American taxpayer, as well as the Canadian workforce, the Canadian taxpayer, took that money and they're going to go overseas where they can basically exploit people more viciously. And really what we expect right now as workers is for us to get back a lot of the things that we've given up over the last 10, 20, 30 years because they're making so much money. You need to share that with the workforce that produces the wealth that has allowed you to make the money that you make. But the thing is, General Motors is not interested in sharing the wealth with the very people that created that wealth for them. They're interested in just making more and more money for themselves.
And where are we know where the Republican Party is on this, but the Democratic Party, fight for the workers. Well, I looked it up quick. Every leader in the Democratic Party takes money from GM. GM basically got a big bailout. You could say they needed it, or the automaking industry would collapse and the ripple effect would be terrible. Yet there was really no strings attached. So where is the political will? We're already talking about 2020, but I don't hear a lot of talk when you have essentially a company get free money from the government, $514 million in tax cuts from Trump, and they've used $10.6 billion in profit that, like you're saying, you've made to basically buy back stocks, which the executives are largely paid in stocks. So it just kind of seems like theft if you're looking at it.
Absolutely. It's wage theft. They're stealing our surplus value every day, and it's theft from the American taxpayer that subsidizes them to be here. They're just using and exploiting us and treating us as tools because General Motors clearly does not care about America or American workers or Canadian workers as well, right? They just care about one thing, and that's money alone. What was your question again?
The Democratic parties.
The Democratic Party. Okay, so 2020, I'm actually working with an organization called Good Jobs Nation and also the Democratic Socialist of America. We're circulating a petition currently to try to get the Democratic candidates to come to Detroit and come to Michigan to talk about their strategy for keeping good union jobs in this community, right? It's not just about jobs. Everyone talks about jobs like it's, the be-all, end-all. We don't want service sector bullshit jobs with no benefits. We want good union jobs to where you can support a family. So I would like to personally send out an invitation to particularly the progressive candidates who want to take up the mantle of working class people to come to our communities and explain to us what their plan and their strategy is to help the American auto worker and our communities as a whole, because we've been suffering from industrial disinvestment for over 30 years now.
Can you kind of talk about inside the plant? What's the morale there? Is it anger, fear, hopelessness? You have workers that are working a very, very tough, difficult manual labor job, basically just waiting for a pink slip and all sorts of stress on them.
Mm-hmm. I think it's all of the above. I think it varies day to day, moment to moment. Everyone has their own personal issues and their personal circumstances that they're dealing with. But I think there's a sense of hopelessness, you know what I mean? Feeling like the company they work for truly doesn't care for them and that there may or may not be a future. It's very precarious, you know. What kind of decisions do you want to make in your life to start a family or purchase a house or even purchase the cars that we build if the company that you work for doesn't care enough about you to tell you ahead of time, hey, we're going to allocate a product to your plant, right? Instead of dangling a little carrot in front of our face saying, which this is what I suspect is going to happen and I think it's been proven in the past, they're going to say, yeah, we'll put product back into that plant and keep the plant open if you take more concessions, which is kind of their MO.
So then does it come down to, you know, somebody here was talking about just we need to stop buying cars and stop buying things so that the people have the leverage through strikes and economic divestment. How do you organize? Because the union movement, not just here, but all across America, is splintered and divided. And, you know, it's kind of divide and conquer. And when you have people economically beaten down for so long, it's hard to get them to actually come out and do something.
Mm-hmm. I don't think not buying cars would really help the American worker. I don't think it would help workers in general, but I think that we do need to have a conversation about what a labor movement means and how we can create a new labor movement in this country. Because when you look at history, that is like right now, we are getting more and more money for the 1%, and for the rest of us, we're pretty much getting screwed. Our wages have been going down for a long time, and we're, you know, experiencing a worse quality of life than our predecessors. So we need a new labor movement. We need to talk about unity. We need to stop focusing on these bullshit divisive issues like building a wall or scapegoating Mexicans or trying to look down upon people who may look differently or speak a different language than you. We need to focus on what we all have in common, which is, you know, the brotherhood of man, unity of human beings, and that we are all being exploited by the same corporate system that only wants one thing, and that's to take more money out of our wages and out of our labor.
And I want to ask you, when you look at 2016, I mean, the Democratic Party and CNN and MSNBC, it's like they have this narrative that they so want to be true that, like, the Russian boogeyman is why Trump got elected. Well, I've been in the Midwest quite a bit. Whether you like Trump or you don't, I certainly don't. Things like this are how kind of fake populists get elected, not just in America, but throughout history. You have economically beaten down people, and you have a showman that comes and says, I'm going to bring back your jobs, and I'm going to, you know, take it to GM, or, you know, he told Lordstown, don't move. He told the people in Lordstown, don't move. This plant's going to stay here. So not whether Trump's going to win re-election, but do you think the larger American public is not really connecting to why people are so economically desperate out here to the point that they would, frankly, elect someone like Trump?
Well, Trump is clearly a liar, but he's a very charismatic, and he's very good at lying. And he has a lot of money, too. So if you say I lie long enough and loud enough, people maybe who are not paying attention as closely as they should be will start to believe them. But what I suggest is that you look at labor history in America and see the movements, the true populist movements, the mass movements that have created a better quality of life for people. Study your history. Know the kind of struggles that had to happen in order to result in the benefits that you have today and the wages you have today and the quality of life. These things were not just given to us out of the generosity of the 1% in this country. They were fought for and earned and struggled for by the real populist movements, the movements of the masses of people who demanded that from their oppressors. And as far as, you know, Russia is concerned, I mean, yeah, it's in part being used as a boogeyman, but in part there's a certain degree of truth to it. I mean, my father's a Polish immigrant, and when I've been back to Poland and I've heard about the history of Eastern Europe, I mean, there's a lot of history of Russian oppression of people over there. So, I mean, to a certain extent, I believe in it, but also to an extent, I feel like it can be used as a scapegoat, right? What we need is more democracy, right? And whether your oppressor comes in the form of Putin or Trump or really anyone who's trying to destroy democracy in this country or destroy, a movement of the masses to create a better world, that needs to be opposed. I don't care where it comes from or who's doing it.
Well, I mean, simply put, we don't really have a democracy if the people creating the production and creating the wages and wealth are on a flat line as far as their wages and their wealth, whereas the people in offices are taking. I mean, that's not a democracy; that's an oligarchy.
We certainly don't have an economic democracy. Politically we have more of a Republican system, but economically we are very, very far from a democracy. And the closest thing that you can get to having a voice in your workplace is through joining a union. And when I say a union, I don't mean just bureaucracy. I don't mean just join an organization and paying money to them so someone can sit down in an office and do nothing for you. I mean join a militant union, working class organization where you come together with your coworkers in a trusting way and build solidarity with them around common issues of concern, and that gives you a voice and that gives you a semblance of democracy in your workplace. And I've worked at both union and non-union facilities, and I'll tell you what, a union gives you a hell of a lot more protection, and you can't just be arbitrarily fired because a boss doesn't like you, and that's a beautiful thing.
Last question. What do you think about, there's more and more cries out there, we need a yellow vest movement in America. Obviously, in France, they were protesting, but they have single-payer health care and some things we don't have. Do you think we've reached a point where we need that nationwide? And if we do, how do you organize something like that? Because workers are very much in fear. If we actually strike collectively, try to shut down certain commerce, things like that, we'll lose our jobs.
Well, first of all, I don't care what color vest anyone wears. It's just a matter of the substance of the argument that you're making. So regardless of, the superficial quality of it, we need to actually just come together, right? And to me, that comes from a reinvigorated labor movement. And how do you do that? Study your history. See what has worked in the past. A White Shirt Day is a beautiful holiday that I've celebrated my entire life with my family that symbolizes the successes of the 1936-37 Flint sit-down strike and the struggles that they had to go through. The white shirt just signifies the dignity of the working class and that we're equal to the managerial class, right? And so study histories like that, strikes that happened in our own communities and how those workers fought for and struggled to get economic justice where they're at. I think every local situation is a little different, but at the same time, as a working class, we're all the same. And it's through developing a sense of class consciousness and class conscious unity that we can come closer to achieving that goal.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Can you imagine if Sean was ever allowed on CNN? If people like Sean were ever quoted at length in the New York Times, this country would be an entirely different place. This country is in the midst of a decades-long information war. And the progressives are losing. But we're on the rise. But we need those voices with such clarity, intelligence, passion, knowledge of history. We need to amplify their voice. We need to hand them the microphone. And that's what Status Quo is about. That's what we're about. That guy is 10 times smarter than any dipshit pundit you will ever see on cable news. Any dipshit pundit you will ever see on cable news. That guy does laps around them. So, we'll see what happens. We definitely need to raise a little bit more money before we go there. I would like to go there next week. So let's keep it going in the GoFundMe if you can. We are at, let's take a look. We're at $196 away. $196 away from $73,000. Please don't make me cry on my birthday. And like I said in the beginning, I'm totally happy to be shameless about trying to raise money for Status Quo on my birthday. Because if I'm not going to do it, nobody else is going to do it for me. So, hopefully we can reach 73,000 before I sign off. And hopefully we could go to Detroit. I was hoping we could go next week. So, we'll keep you posted on that. Now, I want to show you another clip from this climate strike that I covered today. It was with the leader of the Sunrise Movement, who obviously has been instrumental in raising awareness with the Green New Deal and of the climate emergency. They have protested outside Nancy Pelosi's office, Chuck Schumer's office, Mitch McConnell's office. They were predominantly responsible for even getting that town hall on CNN. This movement is organized and they mean business. And this is the leader of the Sunrise Movement. Excuse me, the screen is going to go black for another second because I didn't have time to load it. With a new camera person, by the way, this live stream will be way better produced. Let's take a look. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. It's coming. It's coming. I promise. Do-do-do. Do-do-do. What will be, will be. Global warming. Where did I put it? No, that's not what I want. Hold on. Sorry, hold on a second. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. I gotta find it. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. This is why we need to take the live stream out of my hands. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset. Hold on. It's coming. It's my birthday. Bear with me. Sunrise. Okay.
It's Varshini Prakash, the executive director of the Sunrise Movement. The Sunrise Movement is a movement of youth working to stop climate change, take back our democracy from big oil, and elect leaders to fight for our generation's well-being. Varshini has been a leading voice for young Americans, including when she helped lead a mass demonstration for the Green New Deal that put climate change on the map for Congress. New York City, I'm introducing Varshini Prakash.
How you doing, NYC? All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for that introduction, Shiv. My name is Varshini. It is a pleasure to be with you here today. So I want to say, when I first learned about the climate crisis as a kid, I would lie awake at night, my heart pounding, when I thought about what this would mean for my people. I couldn't get the images out of my head, right? What people would do to each other when they didn't have food, when they didn't have water, and when they sought sanctuary and were faced with cages and guns instead. And I felt alone and small and powerless. And I know that that is the story that so many young people are feeling right now. We've grown up seeing the political establishment fail us. And for twice as long as I have been alive on this planet, we have known about the crisis. For just as long, the wealthy and the powerful have profited off of pollution, have lied to millions of people about the science, have choked our democracy with their big oil dollars and stolen our futures. Today, this generation is taking over. Our days of waiting for justice, our days of waiting for action, our days of waiting to be heard are over. Am I right? Today we are putting our feet in the streets and we are not stopping until we get it done. Today kids don't have to feel small and alone and powerless because we have a movement that is globally shaking the roots of our society, that is getting millions of people involved in action. And striking is how we can stop the worst of the climate crisis and get a Green New Deal. So that's why I want to announce that for the next year and a half, Sunrise will be supporting and building the strike movement alongside our friends in Fridays for Future and Zero Hour every single day. Continue onwards till we get it done. But I gotta be honest with you, y'all. We gotta be honest with each other. That if we want to survive, if we want to win, there are not enough of us here yet. There are 3 million people globally, but there are not enough. And if we want to win, we are going to need tens of millions of Americans to join us in the streets. If we are going to win, we have to bring society and our economy to a standstill and make it happen. If we are going to win, politicians are going to have to know that they will win or lose based off of where they stand on this issue. And we can do it. We've been here before as a people. In 1970, on the first Earth Day, 20 million people were in the streets. During the Civil Rights Movement, young students and young people were arrested and took action and took risks by the tens of thousands. And that's what it takes to make change in this country. So I need all of you to be with me here in this fight. So I want you to imagine striking not just for one day, but day after day, marching and demonstrating incessantly, even shutting down our cities and schools and businesses to stop business as usual unless we get what we want and need as a generation. Are you with me in that fight? So today is a glorious start, and tomorrow the fight continues, and I want to see you there. Thank you, everybody, and let's march.
Keyword, shut it down. That's the only way you're going to make change. We could protest, we could strike, but you got to shut down business as usual. That means shutting businesses down. That means shutting commerce down. That means shutting traffic down. Do it within, don't be violent or anything like that. But it's time to make the comfortable uncomfortable. And it's time to make people who are tuned out to the climate crisis be like, well, can't we do something to make these damn protesters go away? It's time to make this everybody's problem. And that's not just for the climate crisis. That goes for Black Lives Matter. That goes for labor. That goes for a lot of issues in this country. We could all, trust me, I appreciate you watching every day, but we need to do more than watch and share and GoFundMe on my birthday. Hint, hint. We need to hit the streets, and you need to be disruptive, and we need to put ourselves on the line. Thank you. Robert, $60. Gus, $10. Lori, $10. So we are very close to $73,000. That is $124. $124 away. On my birthday, can we hit that 73,000? Oh, so amazed by you guys. Thank you. So we'll have a mashup. We'll have a mashup of all the speeches I took. By the way, I'm a terrible camera person, I know. That's why we are in, hopefully, fingers crossed, the final stages of hiring a new camera person, hopefully by Monday. So stay tuned for that. If everything goes well, I think you'll be happy with who this is. Also, we want to cover more climate things, the pipeline fights, water contamination, factory farming, which we've never covered but needs to be covered. Monsanto. We want to cover a whole slew of issues. We just need to grow. That means GoFundMe, and also having our membership grow. I haven't been talking about that, but we are currently at 714. Our goal for the end of this year, so we got less than 4 months to do it, is 1,000 members. I think we could do it. We're offering something others are not. That's aggressive, authentic, in the trenches, in the field journalism. Join us if you can. $5 a month or $10 a month. Thank you, David. 20, is that reals? 3 slices of pizza corrected. 3 slices of pizza corrected for interbank exchange rates. Why, thank you so much. Boiled rope lamp post, $4.99 in the super chat. Plant trees. I just marched with Youth Climate Strike San Francisco. Feels great. Get in the streets. Couldn't agree more. Fantastic. So, my final story on my birthday, 33rd birthday. And I know it's a bit, egocentric of me to celebrate my birthday on the internet. But, it's a good way to raise more money for Status Quo. I hope we could hit that 73,000 mark before the end of this live stream. As I enjoy my birthday, it is not lost on me the continued, let's call it what it is, coordinated death sentence being perpetrated against Julian Assange. Julian Assange has been in a prison in the UK since he was illegally taken out of the Ecuadorian embassy. He had asylum there. He was illegally taken out of there. And just a few days ago, a judge ruled that even when he is set to be free, which is September 22nd, I believe, even when he's set to be free on September 22nd, they are going to keep him imprisoned, even when his sentence for skipping bail or whatever is up. They're going to keep him in prison until his extradition hearing at the beginning of 2020, because essentially they are saying he is a flight risk. The most surveilled person in the world, maybe, they are saying would successfully, thank you, Windy Melly, $10 in the super chat. They are saying the most surveilled person in the world could successfully flee and escape before his extradition hearing. This is barbaric. Julian Assange, I'm not saying he's perfect, he's not. Julian Assange is no different than the preeminent whistleblowers of our time. From the Pentagon Papers and Daniel Ellsberg to Edward Snowden to many other whistleblowers. The New York Times did collaboration with Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. Rachel Maddow and all these Russiagate lunatics now used to love Julian Assange and WikiLeaks when they were releasing terrible things that hurt the Bush administration. Used to love them. But now, since they're drinking that Kool-Aid of Russiagate and centrism and neoliberalism, well, he's a Russian terrorist. So, Julian Assange, again, let me give you the update. WikiLeaks co-founder Julian Assange is to remain in prison when his jail term ends because of his history of absconding, a judge has ruled. He was due to be released on September 22nd after serving his sentence for breaching bail conditions, but Westminster Magistrates Court heard there were, quote, substantial grounds for believing he would abscond again, which means to disappear or flee. The Australian, 48, is fighting extradition to the U.S. over allegations of leaking government secrets. He will face a full extradition hearing next year, starting on the 25th of February, after an extradition request was signed by then Home Secretary Shahid Javid. Assange received a 50-week sentence in Belmarsh Prison, southeast London, after being found guilty of breaching the Bail Act in April. He was arrested at the Ecuadorian embassy, where he took refuge in 2012 to avoid extradition. District Judge Vanessa Baresta on Friday told Assange, who appeared by video link, quote, "You have been produced today because your sentence of imprisonment is about to come to an end." Quote, "When that happens, your remand status changes from a serving prisoner to a person facing extradition." She said that his lawyer had declined to make an application for bail on his behalf, adding, quote, "Perhaps not surprisingly in light of your history of absconding in these proceedings. Quote, in my view, I have substantial ground for believing if I release you, you will abscond again." This is complete bullshit. There is a better chance of Joe Biden running the New York City Marathon than Julian Assange getting around the block in the UK or anywhere and fleeing his bail conditions. There is not a serious person, not only in America, but in the UK, around the world, that would believe that this man, whatever you think of him, who is the most surveilled person probably on earth. Like, I can't think of anyone that is being surveilled by more countries than Julian Assange. So what they are doing, and thank you very much, we just got a few more GoFundMe contributions, so we're now $16 away from 73,000. Thank you, Jean, a repeat donor. Thank you, Carrie, a repeat donor, 75 from Carrie, 33 from Jean, Lori, $10, Robert, $60. Oh, 16 more dollars. I think we could do it. And then I'm gonna have my girlfriend and my friends have set up something for me tonight. I don't know what. It's a surprise, so I'll have to let you know. Thank you for the donations. Can we get another 16? I think we can. But basically, this is the slow marching death sentence of Julian Assange, and it's an international disgrace. And it is putting not only a target on whistleblowers' backs, it's putting a target on me, other independent journalists. I don't know about the New York Times. I mean, they're part of the club, so I don't know if any of the New York Times people are ever going to get the Julian Assange treatment. But basically what they're doing to Julian Assange is trying to, forever and ever, intimidate, threaten, and scare the living bejesus. Remember, Chelsea Manning is still imprisoned, second time. Actually, the third time. There was her sentence for what she did, and now she's been in solitary confinement twice since for refusing to testify against Julian Assange. They are trying to chill the next Julian Assange. They are trying to chill the next Chelsea Manning. They are trying to chill the next Edward Snowden. They are trying to stop and basically place a death sentence if you ever dare to be courageous and fight for truth of war crimes to come out. They are trying to stop you from doing that in your tracks. And that is why this is a slow death sentence for Julian Assange. He should be released. Do what you want. You want to have 3, 4, 5 ankle monitors around him during his release? You want to put a GPS chip in him so you know where he is at all times? Fine. I don't agree with it, but I could live with it. Thank you, Tim Tuffy, full $20 in the super chat. Happy birthday. Keep fighting the good fight. I will. Thank you so much. Xavier Foster, $2. Did Douglas fake and or pimp his race? No. That's a good point. That's a good point, talking about Elizabeth Warren. I mean, as much as we're all fighting the urgency of climate crisis, where are people in the streets for Julian Assange? In the UK? In America? Don't let the corporate media propagandize and make this guy a villain. He's not. He did nothing wrong. I literally, right now, Jen and I are working on a story. I'm not going to get into full details. That is pretty damn big. It involves pretty serious corruption. And you know what? We haven't found it yet, but there's definitely documents that will prove it. And you know what I'm doing right now? I'm trying to convince potential sources to be bold, to potentially take risks, to get the truth out. I'm not asking them to break the law, but I am asking them to possibly put their jobs on the line, possibly put their good standing in the community on the line, and in some cases, possibly put their freedom on the line. That is how important this story is. Journalists like me do that all the time with sources. I mean, the New York Times and the Washington Post do it for more bullshit stories, but you get the point. This is journalism. This is what journalists are supposed to do. This is what he did. Without him, nobody would have known the atrocities done by, the patriots and the American army in Iraq and other places. And he's released a lot of other things about globally other countries and the horrors they've done. And what they're trying to do is the oligarchy, the global oligarchy, is trying to keep their atrocities, keep their barbarism, keep their greed turned murder, keep their corruption, keep their war crimes secret. Thank you, Samoa M, 1999 in the super chat. So honestly, I don't want to promise you something I can't promise, because when you're talking international travel, that's a whole other thing. It's a whole other expense. But I hope we could keep raising money, because I'd like to go to the UK and cover this. I think this is the fight. Climate is the fight for our lives. Julian Assange, what's going on with him, is the fight for truth. I truly believe that. And people very close to me disagree. I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but there's people in my life that disagree and think he's terrible. I think they're deluded, and I think they're naive on this. So I'm going to keep covering it. I was a few days late to that. So all of you need to reach out to your local representatives, your state representatives, your national representatives, organize protests, and make UK and America know you will not stand for this. Because he's not going to get a fair trial, and he will be extradited. I got news for you. It's just rubber stamped at this point. And it's from all the reports, he's lost a very, very unhealthy amount of weight. He is physically and mentally not well. And who could blame them? Who could blame him? Hate to turn from that to joy. Nicole just put us over the top. $73,000 on my 33rd birthday. $73,000 on my 33rd birthday. Thank you, Nicole, for putting us over the top. Thank you for everybody who donated today, not just on GoFundMe, but the Super Chat. Thank you to our, I don't even know how many members we have now. But I think when I started, we had 714. I don't know if we've had any signups. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let me tell you, I believe in total transparency. So obviously we got now $12,000 to go in the GoFundMe. What I want to do, and I haven't spoken to Jen about this yet. So obviously I got to get permission from Jen because she runs the show here. We love her. We love her. We love Jen. And Jen sent me 25 emojis on my birthday. So we love Jen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Nicole. I had a conversation today on the phone with, I don't know if you, some of you tech people might be familiar, but we use a live view. You know how CNN, these networks, when they go places, they have a satellite truck. That's how they do in the field coverage. They have a big truck, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars. I really don't know. So obviously we don't have a satellite truck. We don't want a satellite truck. More nimble mobile units use something called a live view. So when I was at Young Turks, we used a live view. And what live view is it basically is a mobile satellite. It connects different hotspots. So AT&T, you have a hotspot for that. Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, and it binds different cell towers together to give you a stronger connection. Well, because Status Coup was starting from nothing, we got the cheapest one, the LiveView Solo, which I think it was like $1,500. And with the add-ons, it's probably closer to $2,000 we spent. So it's good for, sit-down interviews where other people aren't there. It's not good for like big crowds. Like if we had the LiveView Solo today covering the climate march, it would have been buffering because it just doesn't have the bandwidth. So I spoke with somebody today from LiveView, and to get the one that we need for remote areas, so I'm talking like North Dakota-ish, Montana, South Dakota, if we were to go cover this Keystone XL pipeline, which I want to do, to go to a big rally, 10,000 people for Bernie or whatever, to get that, this one, around 13,000. I think I can get it lower, probably around 10,000. Yeah, there's monthly costs like the data plan, this and that. But let's just call it, we need another 10 grand for this. And why I think it's important is if we're going to hit the road and cover things, we don't want to be restricted by technology. And I want to go live for the most part, even though YouTube's not going to tell you when we're live. I want to go live. And we might play around with some things, possibly down the road, like a text alert system. So you get a text message when we're in the field and we're going live. So that kind of works around YouTube. But I don't want to make Jen's head explode, so we're not doing that yet. But basically, I'm eyeing to get that soon. And if we get it before the end of October, we actually will get, I think 3 months, he said, data free. Because data would cost us probably $250 a month on that too. And this one, LiveView 300, actually has internally in the system all of them: AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, and Verizon. So you don't have to actually buy external hotspots; it's inside. So ultimately, the data plan would be cheaper for us than having the one we have now, where you have to buy separate phone plans, which we don't want to do. So, no Videodrome. I don't know what that means. Looks like you got a couple more donations on GoFundMe, by the way. Did I? Well, yeah, we're at 73,000. So that's what we're looking at. Not guaranteed, but that's what I'm thinking. If we get to that 85, we're going to definitely get that. So thank you for all, and not just the money. Like, I've gotten so many messages on Facebook and on Twitter or whatever. You make a guy feel special on his birthday. My 32nd birthday was basically my 32nd year was basically working 6 or 7 days a week. I don't see that's changing because you got to hustle to grow a media revolution. But I can't do it without you people. I can't do it without the Coup de Cavalry. So thank you to all of you. Thank you to Jen, who's in the Super Chat and works like a dog for us too. Thank you to Colin, who has a full-time job but helps us on the as much as he can. Thank you to Marcus. Thank you to you. Keep it coming. I will be live this coming Sunday. I will be live for the Status Quo Marathon. Oh, we just got another donation. Darian, $5. Tanya, $20. Kimberly, 16. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're now, can somebody dream? Listen, I don't know if it's possible. I was hoping to get to $75,000 by the end of this weekend. I will be live Sunday. I don't know. I don't have any guests lined up, so I will have a mashup of this climate crisis strike that I covered today. But I'm hoping to raise more money on Sunday. I would like to get to that $75,000 because if we get to that $75,000, if I'm keeping it real, I think I might be able to get that $10,000 quickly from a not nefarious source. From a not nefarious source. Thank you. So, that's it for today. I will see you on Sunday, noon Eastern time. Remember, most people are not lacking compassion in this country. Most people have no earthly idea what in the heavens is going on all around them. Peace out. Thanks for the birthday wishes.